Hey all, welcome to the Suffolk Legal Innovation and Technology Lab's document assembly line workshops. Today's topic is adding ALKiln tests to your Docassemble interviews, and our expert guest is ALKiln's developer, Michelle. I'll ask her to introduce herself in a moment. First, this workshop is being recorded and we will share it on our YouTube channel. You'll be able to find it on our blog at suffolklitlab.org or on YouTube by searching for Suffolk Lit Lab. If you're participating live on Zoom, please use the chat to ask questions. I'll call attention to them as we go, or since we're a small group, you can just unmute yourself and speak up. That's fine too. It often helps to share your screen to demonstrate a problem, but just wait until we invite you to. I don't know if you can without me saying so on the host tools anyway, but hold off. If you're watching and hearing about the Lit Lab or the document assembly line for the first time, head over to suffolklitlab.org to learn more. Or you can go to assemblyline.suffolklitlab.org. Maybe I should start using that. So, okay, let's get started. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Michelle, and you can take it from there.
Okay, thank you very much. I am Michelle. I'm a volunteer, she, her. I'm a volunteer with Suffolk Law School, as Sam said, I think. I've been with the program about a long time, some number of years, working on document assembly line core infrastructure and some court forms, and working with partners, holding office hours for folks who have questions about life, the universe, and everything, and Docassemble. I find it a pretty darn interesting space. I have been developing.
I think it's fair to say if you aren't one of the OGs of the document assembly line, you're close to it. You've been part of the backbone of the project since nearly the beginning, I think.
Yeah, since nearly the beginning. Yeah. It's been a trip. It's true. I mean, the whole effort from start to finish, I mean, not finish, from then till now has been, an incredible mission and an incredible group. And I'm very grateful to be here. So I am also developing a testing framework for Docassemble interviews. I developed it in collaboration with the assembly line project, document assembly line project. But it can be used on any Docassemble project to a certain level of complexity. It's still very much in development. I have made a few supplementary tools for it, like this tool, which will help people set up tests for their GitHub repository. So these are tests that will run automatically when you commit or push to GitHub or change code on GitHub. I should tell you what the testing framework is. The testing framework is called ALKiln. That is assembly line kiln. It made more sense at the time, I think. And it is basically a way to give instructions to a robot. You make a Docassemble interview, and then you tell the robot, go to my interview and fill in this information. And it tries to do that, and if it fails, it writes a little report and lets you know. And you can do this with any number of tests, with any number of repositories. You can test in your playground. If you want, you can test automatically in GitHub. And there are multiple ways in which you can test. You can run these tests, all of which have pros and cons. And that's, I think, covered in a different video, or if not, it will be covered in a different video. But basically, it lets you make sure that the interview you create, the form you create, is doing what you want it to do. It can make sure that the right text appears, or just that the user gets to the end, or that the user's form correctly shows that they want their address impounded. It can help make sure you maintain the trust between your users and your organization. It can help keep people safe, and it can help make you more hardy to changes in Docassemble core itself. Because if something in Docassemble changes that will break your interview, then these tests will tell you. You can run them on a regular basis, on a scheduled basis. You can do all kinds of weird things with them. And this presentation is just about the setup for those forms. For those tests, I just wanted to let you know what we're setting up here. And this is not about any other types of test setup, just these. All right. So with that, I think unless if folks already have questions, they can ask them. And if not, but we'll set up Sam in the meantime to be the guinea pig. It is on the server now, Sam. It is on the server. It's actually not the latest version, but which I wanted to sneak something in there just at the end. But
all right. Should
that would
I
be another day.
be sharing my screen then?
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen and go to the dev server and show us a list of available interviews, or if you want to start with the first page of the, you know.
Yeah, you want me to go to available interviews?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there near the bottom, manage or set up ALKiln GitHub automated tests.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly how to go through this, but here it lets you choose between two testing environments, GitHub+You test and Sandbox tests. In the dropdown, it tells you a little bit more about those environments and also the environment that it does not offer here. For that, there's a link to our documentation. Those you can set up without this complex arrangement. So Sam, go ahead and just select both of them so we get to see the benefit of everything. And at the top, you'll notice it tells you what your choices have been so far. Right now, you've just chosen to do the test type. Here you get to choose what you want to manage on GitHub. You may want to add tests. You may just want to set up the infrastructure for running tests or edit the infrastructure for running tests, and we'll go over that infrastructure as we go through. I will say go ahead and pick. I mean, you can pick whatever you want. Do you want to just pick what you want? I mean, it should be working now. So hey,
No, you want tell me what's the best for demos? I mean,
I would say the best for demonstration is a GitHub organizations repository because it covers all the cases.
Okay.
So if you want more information, go ahead and pick, I want details and instructions for the personal access token.
Okay.
And go ahead and continue. And here it'll tell you how to get that personal access token. And I don't know if you have one so set up. So you might want to pause your screen share so that people can't
this will be secret stuff.
Well, you can show the initial settings page, but just before you create the secret. Secrets are, tokens are supposed to be secret. So you can show the, confirm.
Here's all right, managing my tokens. Confirm access. I think that'll just do that. Okay.
And here you get to create your personal access token. So it links you right to there. So now you probably want to pause the recording and create that token.
All right. I pause it. I don't actually know how to pause a recording.
So you go to where it says where it says it's recording. Yeah, to the share bar, and you hit pause, or if you might have to click the three dots to show the additional menu items, and then you pause sharing, or you can just stop sharing and bring us back when you're ready.
Right. I do not seem to have the option to pause. I only have the option to stop, so I guess I'll just stop.
Okay. All right, no worries.
All right, it says to check the repo and workflow scopes. So I'll do that. Tap the checkbox for admin org. And then finish. So I'll generate my token.
Yeah, I could have probably let you
I need
show
no.
the checkboxes. I can actually.
I'll call my token ALKiln demo. So maybe I'll remember it when I get back. Okay. So I've copied my token. Is it safe to come back now? Oh,
Yeah, as long as you don't show your token, sure.
I'm not showing the token. All right. Well, that was easy. So I think the fact that we didn't show is probably fine.
Great.
Thanks,
Chris. No worries. I'm just thanking Chris for, yeah. So, okay. Yep. Pick your organization. It automatically lists just so you know, it will be automatically listing the things, the various things that you, that you have in your repository.
GitHub organization is dead. So.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
No worries.
So now it's going to find your, and you can see the box above that says what you've filled out so far is actually scrollable.
I like repositories incoming. Duck.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have one that you think I should do, or should I just?
You can pick whichever one you want. I mean, the setup interview, don't do that one. It's got it's ready to fire, so, and doesn't have the secrets it needs.
I don't think I have a demo set up. Well, what about the volunteer sign up?
Sure, yeah.
Let's see how we did. Our volunteer sign up form.
Suffolk has a lot of these. I stopped testing with I stopped testing with the Suffolk organization. It was just taking too long. Made my own.
All right, so I need more.
So this tells you what secrets you already have and what secrets you don't have. We can't get the values of your secrets. That's the point of secrets. You can't get them.
So I even though these are not found, it doesn't matter because I have organization level secrets, right?
Sure. Or you could create secrets if you want.
I wanted to be more granular.
Or you could change. So here's where management comes in. You need these secrets in order to run certain types of tests. And that is actually GitHub and you tests, because those tests go to your server and need to create a project on your server, and then you need to let the robot go there and click on that project's interview files, interview buttons to navigate to that interview and click on those files. You need to give it permission to go on your server, and that's when you need these secrets. For just sandbox tests, you don't need secrets at all. So here, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Since it found both of these, I don't need to check either box, right?
Unless you want to change the value of the organization secrets. Now, there's more information about GitHub secrets, I believe, on this page or the previous page. Yeah, about GitHub secrets. And it talks about the difference between repository level and organization level secrets, who has access to these secrets, who can see these secrets or change them, where you can go to change them. So that's what I mean by managing the infrastructure for the tests, partially.
How do I know if I would want to change them?
So if you've been having problems with your tests failing because they can't access your server, maybe the API key expired, or maybe the API key got deleted by some kind of horrendous server overhaul, whatever, then, or you change server address, then you want to change these values. Go ahead and create the standard repository level secrets, just so we can see what that looks like. Those would override the organization level secrets.
I see. Okay.
So there you've got what you've done so far. And this authenticates you on your Docassemble server, as you can see from the handy dandy icons. So you can say yes or you can say no and fill in your own. So this is yes because we're on the current server that we want to run these tests on. But if you are coming from another organization, you can say no and fill in your own. Go ahead and say I want details, because we're just going to see the detailed instructions and test my metal. And this will take you to make an API key. And actually, this would be a great job to show people how to do this. And that's great. And then if you follow the instructions, you know you need to make sure that you have to choose no authentication as a security method. And then you create your secret. You have to make sure it has the right privileges, but I believe if you don't pick any here, it will just use your privileges. So you can limit the privileges you have here, and privileges are custom per server. So that one you shouldn't show either, but you'll delete it after this. So it's great.
I sure will.
You could have done the same with the other one, I suppose. So now you want to choose the files you're going to save. So for example, if you wanted to update the interviews that you're going to be testing and you want an example file for some new interview file, you could do the feature files, which are below. And I should have said first, the workflow files. Sometimes, for example, now we have a Sandbox workflow file. So all this is going to do is it's going to make a pull request with these changes. It's not going to automatically overwrite what you have now. It's if you already have this set up, it won't overwrite what you have now. And if you don't have it set up, it won't merge it straight into your main branch. It's just going to make a new branch. So you'll be able to edit whatever happens, whatever it does here.
Non-destructive
if you want. Yeah. So the workflow files are the things that tell GitHub to go and do this stuff when a change happens.
Okay. And the file I wanted to work with is the main.yaml?
It is.
All right.
And here you have your view screen, and we won't go too much into this because I've done minimal testing of this, but happy to, it should all be working, and I'm happy to hear about bugs, and I'm going to keep stress testing this after we're done. I mean, if you're ready, it says you're not going to be able to come back here, but go for it.
YOLO.
That's right. And I think we will go back and look at the personal access token screen in just a bit. But because we should have checked off those checkboxes just as a demo. And now it tells you which secrets it created. And you can make sure they got created you can go there and it won't show you anything spicy because these values are already hidden. But you can see that you have these secrets and that you've overridden the organization secrets.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can delete them or edit them or whatever you feel like doing, but just click on edit for one. It will delete it afterwards because it won't be valid anymore. But it doesn't show you the secret. Even if you edit it, you can't see the secret. There's there's a lot of security around these. There's always, security is a tricky thing, but there's a lot of security around these.
I'm going to leave all these open so I remember to delete them afterwards.
Oh, but here it says, follow this link to delete the personal access token you created.
Okay.
So it probably takes you to the same place, but And if you want to disable the tests, documentation talks about how to do that.
Oh,
I hope
okay, good.
this is our ALKiln page that talks about security with tests and those kinds of things. And apparently light mode doesn't, there's something going on with the code examples, but
That's cool
that's
though,
a,
because that was sort of one of my concerns when I'm doing things like this is I've been clicking buttons and following instructions, but I know it's doing things and I'm not sure that I can reverse them. So I love that it stays in there because it reassures me.
yeah, that's what I hope to do. And it should have a link to the pull request you made, but maybe one thing overrode another. So I'm going to have to debug that. But if you go to your repository and click on pull requests, you can see that you've got some automated tests and that they're not passing. So we'd find out what's going on here. But we can see in the, I think this is the DA YAML checker. We're probably missing IDs on some questions.
Oh,
It's not
yeah,
happy. You know
probably.
what? That's not going to be an error. That should be a warning. Oh, whatever. So if you go up and to the top of the pull request, first of all, it has that comment and it used your account. You gave it your personal access token. So it used your account to make this pull request. And in those tabs up there, it says conversations, commits, etc. You have files changed. And those other tests that are running, that's not ALKiln. That's the document assembly line. That's what we do with all the projects that come in
Gotcha.
is
Okay.
automatically we add those. Or maybe those tests were added after the fact, but it's part of the document assembly line. And here you
So
can
these
see the workflow
are the files that
files, the
added.
feature files.
Okay. So
So
one got added to the sources folder and the other two got added to the hidden GitHub workflows.
folder. Yeah, I mean, it's not hidden on GitHub, but it is hidden in your desktop often.
Gotcha.
So, yes, and here you can see what a feature file looks like. And this is testing one interview. One feature file can test multiple interviews. And there's some comments to give you a hint as to how to get started with these. And you can see a workflow file. And this one should run Sandbox tests, and the other should run which
Oh, yeah,
runs
because we set them
this
both up.
on GitHub. Well, you picked both,
Yep.
so it did both. If you don't want both, though, you can just pick one or neither. You can just pick to not create files. So,
Cool.
um, so yeah. So, if we go back to the setup interview, I think we've looked at all the information there, but we can see. No, I think if there's a problem, make an issue. So
So,
let's go back real quick to the personal access tokens. If you want, you can start again, but you can also open another screen and you can actually, yeah, go ahead and go there. Personal access tokens. Yes. So you can generate a new token on the right-hand side.
mhm.
I mean, when you run the interview, it walks you through this and links you here. But yep, generate a new classic token,
Could
and
easily just make it.
then you can give it a note, and you can give it an expiration date. And most people, the best thing to do is to give it a like 30-day expiration date and come or a 60-day expiration date and come back and put a new secret in when that's over.
Okay.
But for this particular, some tokens you do forever, but for this particular token, you can just say 7 days, just in case you forget to come back here and get rid of it. This
Okay.
particular token is very short use. So, yep, you've picked the repo and the workflow token, and you can pick the
one more,
admin org. It's a little higher. And I'll show you a trick that I don't say in the instructions. It's a very small trick. If you go up, nope, go up and uncheck repo and uncheck workflow. If you just check workflow, it'll do both of them.
Oh.
I just didn't want to complicate it for everyone. So, yep, and then you generate the token, and then you see the token, and now that everyone's seen the token, you're going to delete the token. And I suggest, when you can, deleting the API key that everyone saw as well. Yes, and you delete this one too.
And so it's okay if I delete it right now?
Yeah. And I gave it's great if you delete it right now. Your session with the setup manager is over. And the manager, I should have, this will confuse the video, but maybe we'll add a note to the video. Go to that last page in the manager. It says, make sure the repository secrets got created, and we went there and saw it. And it says, right, and go back to the management screen. And I said that the next link would go to the same place. Follow this link to delete the personal access token. I was totally off. That is to delete the personal access token. They are two completely separate places. Sorry, everybody. Video people.
Okay, so what is how do I see the test, or like
how do you see the results of the test?
I guess, yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and click on Sandbox tests. Yep, that one that has an X. It's unhappy. Very sorry about that. And it tried to run the tests and it had a problem, and we can scroll down to the problem. Or we can see the past tests, which I think the other one's passed. But let's contact the system administrator. So we're not going to see more unless we edit the test. But there is probably some problem with maybe we don't have a user account created correctly on the Sandbox server. Sometimes it works out of the box and sometimes it does not. You know what? I know what it is because I know the sign up form. We have a Google Sheets integration, and this server does not have that in the configuration. We would need to add some kind of dummy configuration or some kind of logic in our interview that made sure that this never got called.
I was trying to pick a plain interview to see how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, not so plain.
Okay.
Not so plain after all. But on our server, if you go back to the pull request, if you just hit the back button, you'll see that the ones that ran on our server probably passed, I suspect. There you go. If you move your mouse down, there you are.
Oh, this one.
Because we do have that configuration.
I see. Okay. That makes sense.
And Jack asks, is ALKiln working on 1.10.x yet? Takes some time for such a big Docassemble change. It should be working on 1.10.x. I don't believe that changed anything about the DOM. All our other tests have been passing, and ALKiln does test itself pretty extensively. There's more we need to add, but it does do some extensive testing. And a lot of the things that broke are in people's interviews themselves. So if the tests are failing, it may be because Docassemble broke you.
So the reason this one worked is because
this
one ran from our development server. So it was running in the same environment, the same configuration that the interview would normally be running.
Exactly. And that's one of the downsides of using the Sandbox test is it doesn't have the same configuration.
And the Sandbox basically, I'm not sure if I'm right about this, but I think it essentially sets up a new Docassemble server and then tries to run the interview on that server. Is that right?
Exactly. The server is on GitHub. The disadvantage of running tests with GitHub+You tests on your server is that if you have a module or something like that, it will reload your server. And if you're running multiple tests, right? You like push something and then you said, oh no, I need to change something, and you push again. They will interfere with each other and tests will start failing because the test will try to go to those interviews when the server is reloading and it'll
You
say
have to wait till it's done. Yeah.
failure,
Okay.
Um,
Michelle,
yeah. Hey, Michael.
hey, there's a way to say that to prevent the workflow from running twice at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've configured that on mine so that if I do a second push, it waits until the first run through of the workflow finishes in GitHub before it tries to do it
That's
again.
awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. We need to add that to the documentation as a very first step. There's also a way to configure tests so that they will only run when you manually trigger them. And some people like that as well. But Michael, that's freaking fantastic. Do you have a link to code
I'll
you could
Slack it to
share?
you.
Could you make a gist or whatever you want to call it? Um, one of those?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
Slack it to you.
That's great. That's great. So maybe we'll add that link in our documentation. Jack said he tried ALKiln on the first day of 1.10.x and it didn't work. And the question is, what didn't work? Right? What was the error message? And if it still errors, hit me up in Slack and we'll, I'll take a look at it or send me the error message. It may have been that sometimes I get used to my tests all passing, and then I think, oh, it must be an error in ALKiln or an error in Docassemble, and that might not be your situation at all. Yeah, yeah. Related to installing initial ALKiln configuration on the Sandbox tests, or um, yeah. So a lot of people were having trouble with that, and there were a couple bugs in Docassemble that had to get fixed before that started working again. Um,
So if
so
I,
and I don't know if it actually, the ones that I'm familiar with switched to using assembly lines Docker image for testing. So I would be curious to know what it looks like on Docassemble's image at the moment, but I believe that got fixed.
so if I
Yes,
merge this pull request, then the test will run every time I try and to do a new commit or pull request, right?
yes, yeah,
Okay,
or yeah,
cool.
exactly.
That's
Playground.
so much easier
Okay. Oh,
than I
Jack
thought it
says
would
it
be.
was in the playground. So yeah, yeah, that sounds good, Jack. It's so much easier. Yes. Well, you should have been here for the first version. Um, so yeah, I mean, this is version 2, and I like a lot of the bells and whistles I have going on now. I'm glad. That doesn't mean it's easy for everyone. So feel free to hit me up on Docassemble Slack or in Teams if you're with us on Teams. Um, do you folks have other questions? What kind of questions do folks have?
Well,
Or
so I think we have a lot of issues and that amount to add the first AL Kiln test to this interview. Um,
yes.
and so if a volunteer was pulling one of those issues and starting to work on it, is there anything that we didn't talk about that they would need to know in order to do that? It feels like we
Um,
just basically did that task.
well, we need to tell them if we want Sandbox tests or
Mhm.
GitHub+You tests. We need to tell them the particulars, and they would need to have access to the API keys in some way or other. Um, so that's you know what, they wouldn't, because they don't need to set up secrets. You don't need to set up secrets, folks. You're all set. Just say no to secrets. Just say no. That's what they say. Um, so uh if they would need to transfer it to Suffolk first before adding those tests though,
Mhm.
because they don't have secrets. They don't have secrets on when they first create the interview on their own repository before they transfer it.
Oh, they
But
get to
once
rely on the organization secrets.
they have to rely on the
I
organization
see.
secrets, yes.
Cool.
And the organization secrets can be very useful because that means you can manage all your tests in one place. You need to change that value, you change it in the organization, everything is up to date right away. So there are reasons to get more fine-grained with those secrets and other parts of other environment variables and bells and whistles for ALKiln. But yeah.
For an organization like the Lit Lab, or I mean, Emily and Chris, Amanda are here. They've all got multiple interviews running. Could you just do this could you implement this across your interview repos? Is there a way to do it in bulk?
Not yet a way to do it in bulk.
Okay.
But that is in the queue, and if you want to contribute to that work, hit me up.
I assume Bryce and Rajeswari are on it, so I'll let them do it. They know a lot more than me.
And if you want to come develop on our dev server, I bet we'd be open to that kind of contribution. So you wouldn't have to run this in your playground. You could to develop it, you could come onto the dev server and develop it there.
I bet we'd be open to that.
Yeah. Though mostly you'd be able to work on ALKiln in the playground and the ALKiln setup things, or in the GitHub code, because the JavaScript code that runs ALKiln core is much more in-depth work that you have to be able to do on your local machine and so on.
Cool. Any other questions? Or Michelle, anything to add? Okay, well, I'll add that. That's super slick and easy. I was very intimidated by tests, and you ran me through it in prep with almost this version of it, and you ran me through it again. I am no longer afraid of tests. I'm going to put tests on all my interviews.
That's right. Every single one. Just so people are aware, all that that initial first test does is it just runs your file. So that means if you leave off, if you forget to commit a file like a template or something like that, constantly forgetting to do that, it'll flag that in GitHub. It'll let you know in GitHub that that's a problem. And if you use Sandbox tests to let you know if you've listed your requirements incorrectly, so dependencies like assembly line and those kinds of things, it'll say, hey, you've got a problem. And that problem might very well be a requirement.
So like the what is it, the packages page of the playground where you select dependencies there, you'd want to make sure you've selected all the relevant stuff.
All the relevant dependencies. And like your branding package, for example, you'd want to include that because otherwise you're going to run into errors. So all it does is it runs the file. It just goes to the first page of the interview. That's what those first tests do. And after that, you can build on those, but those can run right from the start, and they don't require you to have any variables defined, and they don't require any other complex steps. So right from the start, you can have those.
So this is testing, essentially, does my interview work? It's not doing the full like testing through the end of the interview?
I would say, does my interview run?
Yeah. Okay.
So this first test that it creates for you in the setup tool just tests if the interview runs. Emily, you unmuted. Is that because you have a question or because your finger twitched?
I was wondering, and apologies if I missed this. So I understand this now sets up those tests. It sounds like so that if I have a future pull under what circumstances I see how it runs on the pull request itself, like you showed. But is this now, if you did this and you merged that pull request, then these tests would run on future pull requests? Is that right?
Not just on future pull requests. Well, first of all, you have total control over that. So we can
I guess
show you how to set that up, but it's not just future pull requests, it's also future pushes. So if you hit commit in the Docassemble, package management page for your project, if you hit GitHub, you fill in your commit message and you hit commit, and that sends that to GitHub. And when that happens, the tests will also run on whatever branch you're doing it on.
And that's because of the workflows in the GitHub workflows folder, right?
Yeah, that's because of a setting, a keyword in the GitHub workflow file. So that can be controlled. That's also where you can do scheduled jobs. Some people choose to do scheduled jobs in addition to or instead of, just so they have sometimes less noise. And did that answer the question, Emily?
Yeah, I think so. And then so if I did a commit like that and I wanted to see the results of the test, I would like go into GitHub into the workflow like area and
It's the actions
the actions
tab,
area.
actually. The actions tab. Sam, can you show that real quick?
I can, although I already did some cleanup, so I'm worried that it won't.
Well, you can just show the actions tab.
I can definitely
That's
show the
plenty.
actions tab. So
Sorry, Emily, you were asking though, you were saying.
Just understanding how once these are set up, sort of how you would go and check
See what's happened. Yeah. So
Or-
you can press on the actions that are listed in the bottom of the pull request, or you can check here. You can click on the name and look at the particular action. And this has the commit that these made, or you can go into, like Sam is doing, these individual workflows. And what you can actually do is when you click on a workflow, like the sandbox here, hit the sandbox, and you can't do it yet because you haven't merged it to your main branch. But if you merged it to your main branch, you would be able to run the workflow manually. That's already set up with the setup interview. But you can't do that unless you have merged it into your main branch first. And in future, you'll be able to do it manually on independent branches. But the first time that you add a workflow, you can't do it manually until you've merged it with your default branch, your main branch. Sorry, Emily, I interrupted you again. I'm not very good at this.
No, you're doing great. If I wanted to like, I don't know, if I wanted to like test, I don't know, every day or every few hours or something to see if my interview has gone down, like, is there a way to do like scheduled
Yeah,
testing?
yeah, and
is
there's
that sort of something you would set up after the fact?
Yeah, after the fact. Someday in the future, there's a feature to offer, people which triggers they want for their tests, but not at the moment. But there's some actually commented out code in the workflow file that shows you how to set up what's called a cron job, which is a schedule for testing. Yeah, we're running the. I do want to point out that Michael gave a different description for, does the, does your interview run? It basically says, does my interview load without errors? So just loading the interview. I like that description.
It's a way to describe like the basic tests that we just put together, that we just added.
Yeah. Emily, did you have anything left?
Can I jump in real
Oh,
quick?
sure.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So in terms of what Emily was saying, right, I happen to have a couple of repos that automatically have where I've already set up these auto tests. And I have them typically sent to on demand, right? The workflow dispatch, the pull request, and the cron job so that they run twice a day. Because we're testing a lot of backend code in the morning and the evening anyway. And so this is just basically the same time we're doing other tests, we're testing these. Especially where I've got integrations that that's tying into. And so it knows, well, hey, this other integration went down, or you changed some code in this integration and now it broke something. But this just is following up on your thing about, right? If I have it on the push, I got a lot of noise, and so I moved it just to the pull request. But it also means that when I make a pull request, right, it's automatically going to run and it's going to wait for that little green check mark to say like, hey, your test's actually passed before I can merge that pull request.
Yeah, you can put protections on your branch that prevent merging unless the tests pass. You can also add a setting that will let certain developers, certain users override that failure and just say merge it anyway. There are lots of ways to go about this. Yeah, those are good. Those are good additions. Do you have anything else, Emily? I wasn't sure if you were finished.
That was everything at the moment.
Great. All right.
Anybody else with questions or things they want to talk about before we close? Michelle, thank you so much.
Yeah, totally welcome. And if you leave me as the host, I can stick around in case folks want to discuss off the record or something like that.
I'll stop recording and we can stick around if
That's
folks want to.
great. Yes. Thanks, everyone.